Now, this is where I want us to settle. Let's look into the intricacies of this media outreach. Cameroon has protested, but let's pick on reactions from the Cameroon camp. You have Natalie Yom, who is a Cameroonian Swiss activist. I used to think that she has some sense, but from the comments that she made, it was clear to her, or it was clear to me, that according to her, we are just some sort of priceless possession to them. Is it that she's ignorant of the history of the Cameroons put together, or she is just undermining what they call Anglophones, les ennemis dans la maison, their slaves? But her statements seem to suggest that they are very angry with TV France, not for even the flag, but for the fact that perhaps it's an esteem to us. You know, to them, we are like a priceless possession. And that was what I could read even from Vassero, the rapper's video, and other French bloggers. To them, Ambazonia is part of their country. And so they are warning France from such a mistake. My question again to you, as you want to comment in these reactions, would be, what do you see from the back of their minds, and what could this possibly lead to if France does not officially react as a government? Mr. Fu.
France will not react as a government because that's a private TV station. It's like telling the United States government to react on anything that CNN says. No, France will not react. France cannot get involved in petty in those type of things. And I want to continue to develop where I started. Look, I made a statement that the people who run TV5 have made a political statement to Cameroon, to La Republic du Cameroon, that they may want to think that they can walk away from the French. There will be consequences of walking away from the French because the French have an alternative. What intrigues me is that some francophone bloggers in Cameroon are saying, I heard one very clearly. He said, if France knows that for now, they are stealing the oil from the Gulf of Guinea, which belongs to Ambazonia, but that France is capable of cutting that off and dealing directly with Ambazonia, just like they are dealing with other English-speaking African countries. And I'm telling you that I have nothing against what my colleague has just said about tying it to faith and religion and the Bible and all that. Yes, even the prophet had prophesied something like this, of this nature. But I am talking particularly of I am basing my arguments particularly on politics. The French are very jitty about African countries now, particularly Cameroon that is frolicking with the Russians, and they had been frolicking with the Chinese to the detriment of France. And France is trying to blackmail some people. I'm not saying that it's an official position of the French. It could have been that they do it indirectly through their television station, but there's no proof that the French government is involved. But there are people in France who are angry with the fact that they are losing Africa. And the few African countries that are still attached to them, like Cameroon, La Republic of Cameroon, the Congo of Sassou and others, they are telling the most important one, Cameroon, that don't play with us because we have an alternative. There are no permanent enemies in politics. There's only permanent interest, and we can shift our interest anytime we want.
Now,
I base my argument. I base my argument on the fact that Nigeria does more business with the French than all of Francophone Africa put together. So I wouldn't. I'm not refusing the fact that it's divine. It's divine. It could be,
Nigeria
but
might be doing business with the French, which I agree with you. That is genuine business to some extent. But the
yes,
difference with French Africa is the fact that France really doesn't need to do a business. France simply owns French Africa, and taxes are paid directly to France. Now, by Mbeseha, I'm coming to you. And there's something here which I do not want us to
no,
put
no.
behind.
Before you go, Paddy. Before you go, let me say something here. France knows that they are going to lose that part of their economic live wire, the money that is being paid in the French treasury. They know that they cannot continue forever.
In
They are
anticipation.
trying to listen now. Let me finish. They are trying to recalibrate their politics.
That is
Let
that is
not take
I'm trying to say that I'm not disputing, but we need to make progress with the conversation. I'm saying that what you're actually saying, it is in anticipation. That is what France is probably anticipating, and there's evidence to that, considering what is
yes.
happening in West Africa. But this is my concern with this conversation, and I'm coming back to you, Barrister Mbeseha. Natalie Young insinuates that France wants to divide the Cameroons. And according to her, that's the plan. That has been the plan of France for a while. Do you think there is any credence to that, looking into the picture of the Franco-Cameroon hegemony within the Cameroons?
For now, my answer is no. Let me remind us something which I've always said. Well, we all agree most of the time that the Francophones as a bloc, from Douala to Garoua to Betua, they would rather die, all of them, than accept Ambazine to go. They did not hang on to
So,
us.
so you are saying this, it was just a litmus test to prove what you are just saying that
Yes,
this just showed a
yeah,
example.
let me analyze and learn. They would rather die collectively than to let any of them go. The reaction of Natalia is not different from other collective francophones. We've been talking about francophone property. I'm sure you know Victoria very, very well. From West Coast to town to Tico, it's not the government of La Republic who is buying all those lands. They're individual La Republic citizens who are investing there. They have a lot of interest in Ambazine remaining with them. And so they will naturally be very angry at anything that would give a semblance that Anglophones will go away. I need to be reminded, we consider ourselves to be slaves under La République du Cameroon as of now. And again, no slave master ever allows his slaves to go free. Where the United States, you remember? You go back and look at your book if you've not looked at them. What was the cause of the Civil War, the American Civil War? It was the unwillingness of the southern states to let slaves go free. And they fought a civil war for years and died, many of them, to keep slaves. For what were slaves to them? They were property. They worked for them. Every individual farmer every cotton farmer, every sugarcane farmer took up arms to fight against the slavery, the freedom of slaves. And so they are not going to let us go. Again, but the signs are all there. It is not too long ago that Remingono said, look, the way I see this, Mr. Remingono said, is it is time for us, the Francophones, to start envisaging a moment that we shall live without Anglophones. What do you mean by that? Envisage a moment when that gas tap from over there is gone. When all what comes from them is no longer going to be there. That was a prediction. Though it came from the human voice, he is still an activist. So, can I say God was speaking through him? Of course. Are they realizing it now? They are. So I don't think for now, I want to apportion anything to the French government. Yes, if it happens, they will do everything to take advantage of it as a government. It does not matter to the French whether the Babilican man living in Limbe or Boya or Bamana is chased away. What is interesting to them is that they tap the oil or they get the economic benefit that they want for France. And so they can always change count. But the anger of Nathalie and others is looked at in the terms of the global context of every single Francophone. They have looked at us, at the very least, as people who were coming to set them free from the dungeon of the French. Even if they were from Garawa, who were not buying property in Victoria or Bamenda, they looked at us as a source of freedom. Now they are losing this bargaining chip, these touches that will fight for them, that will die for them. They wanted political parties. Who are those who died for it? They are Anglophones. And now they have so many over there. They wanted universities. Who are those who fought and died for them? They are Anglophones. They are going away. They have had so many other universities and work on one, which is not even as big as the Douala or the Yaoundé or Chang. And so they have seen us from different perspectives, economically, politically, as their source of survival. And now, if we are going away, the Nathalie, ordinary citizens will cry foul, talk less of their government. For they are losing a source of supply, they are losing a big arm of their strength. Why do you think this guy who met Sissoko in prison say, well, if anything I brought from prison was that I met Sissoko, and they agreed that we shall be one country, and everybody will be there not wanting to go away. Did it because he loved Sissoko? No. He had that promise from Sissoko. And they believe that Sissoko could keep us with them. It's not because they want to help us. We will continue to be the source of exploitation, be it politically, economically, or otherwise. That's my take about that. Thank you.
Yeah, go right ahead, Barisafo.
Look, let's not think that the French is not watching the fight in Cameroon. Let's not think that the French have put in a lot of money, a lot of equipment, a lot of everything, and it's not yielding fruits. The French are looking at the day after this war ends with the southern Cameroon. Look, I don't think that the French are that stupid to be relying very much on Cameroon stealing oil from the Gulf of Guinea to be selling to them, and they want to keep it. No, they are looking at tomorrow. What happens if Ambazonia, the southern Cameroons, becomes a sovereign nation and they take over their territory? What happens to our energy supply that we have been relying on the Gulf of Guinea? They are playing both sides. They are playing both sides. But the way people like Nathalie don't know the history of Cameroon, and secondly, I don't think that they are following the evolution of this fight on the ground to know whether how Ambazonia will end. But the French are not. They are studying the situation very carefully. And therefore, let us not go with the belief that, oh, the French are, oh no, they have nothing to do with it. They are just watching. No, the French are watching, and anything that will help them gain a little bit of opening on the Ambazonian side is welcome. The reason why I am making this statement, I cannot believe that even if it was an error and it was pointed out, it took 3 days to correct it. 3 good days. Look, I don't know. TV5 is like CNN, and the French have no influence on. They cannot tell TV5 what to do. But they also have French citizens working there, and they might have put up them to do what they are doing. I will not know. I cannot completely extricate the French hand in this whole matter because I don't know much. But those who have done it is TV5. And they have passed a political message. Whether we believe it or not, that is what it is. It may be divine, it may not be divine, but the message has gone. It has gotten, this issue has gotten the French blockers to come out against the French. They have gotten the reaction they wanted from the French public, from the Francophone public. And don't forget, Biya is frolicking with the Russians. He has been to Russia. He has sent delegations to Russia. And the French are jittery because the French have already lost 4 big countries in the Sahel. So they cannot continue. They will have to develop a strategy where they cannot lose completely. That is my take.
Now let me
Okay, from this thing, yes, please.
I did not say that the French don't have an interest. What I said was the reaction of Nathalie, like any other citizen of the Republic. The French have a simpler task if you go away than the Republic. This is my colleague who said a few minutes ago that in politics they are not permanent friends, not permanent enemies. They can still tap our gas, they can still tap our oil on our terms. They lose nothing.
On our terms, yeah.
Yeah, they can still do it. But the Francophones, again, I've given that example, who live in Victoria, who live in Bamenda, who have invaded our own territory for their own private investment, are not going to benefit the same things. They cannot change the allegiance like that. They cannot carry the houses from Bamenda on the head to Munda. They cannot carry the houses from Victoria or Boya to Douala. That is heavy investment that put there, some with bank loans. But again, we're discussing the reaction of the normal Cameroonian, Nathalie, and the other citizens. The French have a stake. They are watching. It is easier for them to bend, to go to where their interest is. They can always do that. They will always do that. That's what smart politicians do. But again, whatever it happens, there are signs, as I started by saying, there are signs that we are succeeding in this thing. This thing has turned out being, to me, a wonderful blessing in the publicity of our cause. Whether they like it or not, they can give any excuses. The message cannot be withdrawn. Where it remained there for 2 days, for 6 hours, for whatever thing, it has been there. Everybody saw it. And what is a flag in the first place? They are making as if it's something big. You and me live here. You can go into any store. I have in town here, this is university school. You can go there and buy any flag in the country. And come and put it in your beer, in your off license. That country will not sue you and say, well, you are using our flag in your off license. Flags are, they're not patented. It's not a patent. Nobody can use that piece of cloth. But they remain a symbol to the countries that do it. And so,
and that's the point. And that's the point by Mbeseha. Can you imagine talking about a struggling victory of the indomitable lions, which I now consider domitable lions? You will be having an Ambazonia flag, cognizant of the ongoing genocide. So using a symbol of Ambazonia, and that's the cause. That's the reason why we are talking. So I think it's a big deal. It's
Yeah,
not
it is
just
a big deal.
anybody having a flag.
In fact, it was a surprise to them. And it was even a more surprise to me, to Amazonians, because we never expected
Yeah,
it. But it has happened. We have to take advantage of it. We have to make this discussion for them to realize that Ambazonia is a reality. There are at least 199 flags in the world, official countries.
yeah,
How
yeah.
is it that even by mistake, why did it fall simply on Ambazonia?